You ready to take a look at some books? Stick with me. You're watching Living Survival. So in a previous video, I did 25 plus survival apps that you can get on your smartphone. A lot of great reference materials, but some of you like to read, including myself, so I thought I'd put together a video of 25 plus survival and prepper related books. Let's take a look. So I divided the books into several different groups or categories, and we'll take a look at them that way, including what I think or what I like about each book. The first group I have here is more wilderness related, wilderness survival, bushcraft, things like building shelters. The first book is from Kephart, again, a survivalist of past days. This is the Book of Camping and Woodcraft. I like this book because it's more of a story. It goes through all different things that you could find in wilderness survival, different things like shelters, how to build personal kits. Again, personal kits that applied to back in the day. So that's what I like about these books, is you can go back and see what people did and if that type of survival application still applies today. So a great read here with Kephart's book, The Book of Camping and Woodcraft. Another woodcraft book, this one is from Krebs. This one has different things like how to utilize a compass, what types of camp foods are better, how to make shelters, how to make a camp, things that, again, you're going to find in the majority of these books, shelters, camps, how they did it back in the day, hunting cabins and things like that. But nonetheless, it's a fun read with the Guide to Camping and Survival. Another woodcraft and camping book is from Nesmith. Another great read, something that is just interesting to take out with you maybe when you're camping or something like that, laying in your hammock. Good stuff to read. D.C. Beard, I believe, was one of the founders of the Boy Scouts. He has a book called Shelters, Shacks, and Shanties, and it's just that. It's got a lot of different shelters that you can build. I like that it has illustrated pictures. I believe these were drawn by him as well. But what's cool about this book is, again, you can go back, you can see all different types of shelters, you can see how to make them, why they made them, different things like drying racks and storing food on a second story, for example. And no matter where you are, there's probably materials that you can use to build different shelters. So it's a good reference. It's fun to go out and try to build some of these shelters. Again, is that something you're going to use in survival? Most likely not, with the advent of tents and tarps and things like that. But again, a cool read. Now on into the more bushcraft books. Again, this is a very fun hobby for me. I like going out and knowing that I can start a fire, rubbing sticks together, although I'd probably never put that into use, being as there are so many other ways to start fires these days. A good book, though, nonetheless. This one is from Morris Kohansky, and it is a sort of a more modern take. He still does videos, I believe, on his YouTube channel, so it's more of a modern take on different things like using an axe, building shelters. A lot of these have shelters, how to build fires. If you're interested in getting a more up-to-date, a more current day bushcraft book or wilderness survival book, outdoor skills in general, this would probably be the one I recommend over the other ones. Those are more historical, and it's fun to look at that stuff, but this one definitely has more current day applications for bushcraft and wilderness survival. Same with Dave Canterbury's books. They're more up-to-date, more common man type things, as he likes to say in most of his videos. This one is Bushcraft 101. It teaches you, again, more common day applications for shelters and for cooking and knots and all sorts of different things that you would use in the woods. Tells you a little bit about different knives and things like that and their applications. And again, he has an advanced bushcraft guide. This one goes a little deeper into all of the different things that he taught in the Bushcraft 101. Different things in here like how to make bindings and lashings and how to use toggles, solar fires. So a little bit more advanced stuff when it comes to fires and shelters and practicing bushcraft. Another really good wilderness or outdoor survival book is this book called The Outdoor Survival Handbook by Raymond Mears. Very good book, an up-to-date book on things like finding medicinal herbs, purifying water, tracking animals, and using maps and compasses. Again, more modern day. I really like this book because it has a lot of pictures in here. Pictures go a long way to for me to learn anyway. I like seeing the different applications and the different pictures, other than when you look at maybe this woodcraft book. It's mainly just stories and sort of describing the things without pictures. So I really like the mirrors book because it has so many different pictures in here and more up-to-date things that you can do for surviving in the wilderness or outdoors. This would come in handy if you're a homesteader as well. You can probably pull some tips from that book. This is a more recent book I got. I believe this came in either the battle box or the homestead box. I am not sure, but again, another more common day book. I haven't read all the way through this, so I can't really tell you how it differs from the other ones. It's got stuff in here like building shelters, knots, what to pack in a bug out bag. So that's sort of nice. Again, it's going to be more common day than some of the other books that we looked at. Next group of books is from people that I respect that have been on TV shows. There are some that I like to watch and some that I don't really get too much into. More and more drama these days on television shows, but nonetheless, there is some good information that can be pulled from these books. One of my favorite survivalists is Les Stroud. He's known as Survivor Man, goes out and films himself in, I believe, the Canadian wilderness. His book is great. Again, these books are going to be similar to the Bushcraft books in that they're going to teach you about how to build different shelters, how to do fire, how to purify water, things like that when it comes to wilderness survival. I do like this book, however, because it is fairly well illustrated, again with pictures showing you how to do stuff more so than just telling you how to do it. There's different Stroud's tips in here, which he gives his own personal take on things. So I like that, and it is a good read for a book from a TV personality. Creek Stewart, he's also the founder of Apocabox. He has this Survival Hacks book. This is a pretty cool book. Over 200 ways to use common day items to do survival hacks. Some of them are fairly far-fetched, but some of them are really good as well. You can see right here on the cover, using tinfoil or other metallic objects to start a fire with a battery, using pop can tabs for tensioning a tarp. There's all sorts of different things that you can do in here. How to make an alcohol stove, a solar cooker, how to make duct tape snowshoes, how to make mucklucks out of newspapers, different things like that, how to make belts and other things out of bicycle tires. Again, there's pretty good pictures in here, not only explaining the survival hack, but also showing the survival hack. To me, survival is all about adapting, all about having that MacGyver mindset and putting to use common things that you have around the household or things that you can pick up out on the trail and turning them into something useful. And this book has a lot of that in it. That's why I like this book and I recommend it. 100 Deadly Skills is definitely a more urban related book. This will teach you how to do things like creating an everyday carry kit, evading ambush, escaping handcuffs and escaping a car trunk, for example, how to disable electronics and how to win a knife fight. There's all different types of things in here, including how to dispose of a body so that it'll never be found, which is pretty interesting. So there's a lot of different things in here. How to construct a pinhole camera, how to clone a key, how to pick a lock, how to do surveillance, how to turn a pen into a weapon, how to build a room hide. So there's a lot of different information in here, sort of different than what you're used to seeing when you think of survival, but this stuff is probably more handy than any bushcraft book that you'll pick up because it will apply to the majority of us and the everyday situation that we live in. So 100 Deadly Skills, definitely worth checking out. You may pick up a few different tips, as I did, that I really didn't think about. Many of you are probably familiar with this book, the SAS Survival Handbook. Now, it does come in a smaller version as well. This is pretty much the Bible when it comes to survival. There is anything and everything you could think of in this book. Basic survival skills, reading the weather, making a camp, food, first aid, disaster survival, self-defense, security, climate and terrain navigation. They even have a new chapter on urban survival in here. This is the latest, I believe, edition, the 3rd edition, but it's a very well laid out book. It's got a lot of different illustrations in it, and it's just a fun book to read, and you'll definitely pick up a tip or two out of the SAS Survival Handbook. Finally, with the more modern survival books, another one of my favorite TV personalities. I think he's got a ton of information under his belt. He lives in the desert. Desert survival is certainly different than something that I'm used to here, which is more wilderness survival, more wood survival, but this is Cody Lundeen. He's got 2 books, When All Hell Breaks Loose and 98.6 Degrees, The Art of Keeping Your Ass Alive. I love his books. I love the way they read. He's got very nice illustrations in them. It's sort of done in a cartoon style, which is fun. It's just a very fun, no-nonsense book, and it's easy to read, fun to read. Same with his When All Hell Breaks Loose. The characters that he has in the 98.6 continue on into his second book. And again, lots and lots of information, lots of good reading in these 2 books, and I certainly recommend picking both of these up. Alright, I mentioned in a previous video that I am looking to buy land this year, looking to start a small homestead, so I'm getting more and more into homesteading books and living off grid and things like that. That is what this group of books is about. Now I know there's a ton of homestead books, which I don't have. Hopefully I'm going to be able to pick up some of those in the near future. But I do have a few books that I've enjoyed reading. One is this Living Off the Grid. I believe I got this in one of those subscription boxes. Again, it's got a lot of different common household type item things that you can use. Different things like composting and collecting water. Different things you can do with solar power. Different shelters that you can use. Not necessarily wilderness survival, but more family type survival shelters like yurts, and converting, your home into a more effective space with different lighting that you can do to minimize your impact on the grid, and different things that you can do to effectively heat or cool your house in different ways. So it's a good book. It's worth a read, especially if you're planning, like me, to go more and more off-grid. Everyone should have a first aid guide. I like this one, the Pocket First Aid Field Guide, because it is small. It's easy to put down into a pack or your get-home bag. You could throw this in the glove box of your car. It's just going to be a general first aid and tell you what to do in the event of sprains or broken bones, different things like insect bites or snake bites, different problems with your stomach or intestines or things like that. It's got a good amount of information in there, and you really can't go wrong having one of these books around. The next book, The Ultimate Survival Medicine Guide. I believe, again, this one came in one of those boxes. It's a very good read for common day things that may happen in a disaster. And unlike the First Aid Guide, which sort of is a broad guide, this one goes into more things that would be likely to happen in a survival situation, different diseases that could be spread, different things in the wilderness that you might come across, like poison oak and poison sumac. It even goes into things like teas and tinctures and salves that you can use. I like that it's got different lists for kits that you can put together, different survival kits or different medical kits, and what you should have in those. So it's a very good book. It's well laid out. It's worth a read. And there are some things that you might find in here and solutions to those problems that you wouldn't find in more of a general first aid book. This one is more of a MacGyver survival, and that is the type of survival that I think is most useful in those types of situations. Another good little book to have is the Prepper's Water Survival Guide. It tells you all about different ways that you can treat water, all about creating a water plan for your household, for example. All different things that you can do to store water long term. So there's a lot of different information in here when it comes to water. Water we all need, and in a survival situation, water may become more and more sparse. So things like collecting rainwater would come in handy, or collecting water before the city, for example, turns your water off in the event of a natural disaster. So things like that can be found in the Prepper's Water Survival Guide, a good little book to have. The next two books I just recently picked up, and I am enjoying them so far. This one is Tools for Survival. This is a cool book. It goes into all different tools that you can use on the homestead, different tools that you should have handy and what you can do with those tools. Some of the examples are food preservation and cooking tools, so things like canning, and different gardening, farming, and ranching tools, sewing and leatherwork, electrical, welding, blacksmithing, firefighting, different timber, firewood, and lumber tools, so saws and things like that. Even goes into handguns and rifles and shotguns, less than lethal tools like bow and arrow, medical and sanitation tools, and then again, knives and traditional tools. So I like this. It has different illustrations. It goes into all different tools and how you can use them and why they are good to have in your kit. So I recommend this one, Tools for Survival, especially if you are a homesteader or thinking about homesteading. This has a lot of good information in it. So the last one I have in this group is How to Prepare Your Family for Survival. It's a great book for families. They've got a lot of great lists in here. Now, some of the other books have lists as well. It's a good idea to go down those lists and cross-reference that with what you have. But it's got places where you can put medical information. It's got first aid for kids, which is some of the things that the other books don't have. Of course, it tells you all about sort of the modern kits that you can put together, modern food preps. For example, this one tells you how to build an emergency kit. What I like is that it breaks it down for 2 people or for a family, for 3 days, for a week, for a month. So again, you can go through your short-term and your long-term survival kits and things like food preps. There's also a list in here of basic food storage and the strategy. So for 3 days, for 7 days, for a month, for example, it's going to go through different food preps. I really like the way the book is laid out, and it's got a lot of good information in it. Out of all the books that I have, these are probably the handiest. I can take one of these when I go out on a hike or when I go out camping, for example, and just learn about the environment around me, learn my trees, learn my plants. That type of stuff goes a long way in a survival situation. You can find out what type of plants you can eat. You can find out what sort of teas and different medical applications that you can do with herbs and things like that. I love learning about that stuff, so these books have helped me do so. Starting with this first one here, this is Edible and Medicinal Plants of Canada. It applies to my area. Now, these books are going to be dependent on location, so if you live in a desert or a tropical environment, you will have to look for books that are tailored for your environment, but these work great for me. So what I like about this book is that it's got a ton of full color photos in it. It's also broken down by if the plant is a source of food, if it's a source of medicine, and other things that you can do with it, so you can really quickly look up a plant and see if it has any value as far as food or medicine. I really like this book, definitely highly recommended. Probably my favorite wild edible book out of the bunch. Next book here is called Edible Wild Plants, a North American Field Guide to Over 200 Natural Foods. Again, very similar. It's got full color photos in here. It's broken down into different sections as well. What I like about this one is it has a quick key on the side here that tells you whether they're edible, tells you, the different ways that you could prepare it, tells you if it's poisonous, which is very important information. Different things that you can make, like jams and jellies and teas and things like that. A good book, worth picking up. This book is very similar. This one's called Edible Wild Plants of Eastern Central North America. What I like about this book, as I like with some of the other books, is the size. Again, you can throw this in your haversack. You can throw this in your bag when you go camping. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room. So it's great information to just thumb through. I like that this book is organized by color. So it's very simple to find different plants based on color. So you got yellow, orange, pink, red, violet, blue. So you can quickly find out what type of plant you're looking at, as well as what you can do with the plant. The key is very similar on the side to this book, but again, I like the size of this book, and this one I take with me when I go out for a day hike or when I go camping. A new book I just picked up recently, this one's called Tracks and Trailcraft. I'm starting to learn animal tracks. What I like about this book is it has a lot of illustrations. It shows you what the different footprints are going to look like, but this book also more so than just illustrations, goes into, you know, the habits and different things about the animals, so you can learn, you know, where animals go, what they're likely to do, and that information is just as important as knowing your tracks, especially if you're trapping or if you're hunting. So it's a good, informative book. I'm going to pick up a couple more books on tracking as well, but I thought I would start with this one, Tracks and Trailcraft. So the last two books I have are on identifying trees, two books that I really like, probably the two best tree books that I have found. The first one's called Identifying Trees. It's got a little identification guide in it that's going to walk you through finding which type of tree it is. It's got tons and tons of full color illustrations in here that not only show you the tree itself, but they show you the leaves, they show you the bark. A lot of times seeing a full color guide is a lot easier than seeing an illustrated guide when it comes to trees. So it's got a lot of different information, sort of just an encyclopedia of trees. The last book I have here is called Bark, A Field Guide to Trees of the Northeast. So it's got a lot of different information on trees. This one, again, has full illustrated pictures of what the bark is going to look like. What I like about this book is it breaks it down into what the tree looks like when it's young, as opposed to what it looks like when it's more mature. It gives you a guide here of where you're likely to find the tree. And then in the beginning here, it's got a very easy to use index. So you can start at the beginning, and it's going to ask you different questions and then tell you to go to different pages in the book to help you narrow down what type of tree you're most likely looking at. So it really doesn't have pictures of the trees and it doesn't have pictures of the leaves, but it has pictures of the trunks. I guess it does have pictures in here of what the leaves look like, illustrated pictures, but it's a very handy guide to have. This one I've taken camping with me, and I'll sit there and try to find out what the different trees are around me. So a very good tree book called Bark. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video today, taking a look at my library of books. Very handy information, urban environment, wilderness environment, different survival hacks that you can do, different ways that you can use medicinal plants, herbs, different trees. I'm starting to get into the tracking animals. I'm starting to get into the homesteading books, so I hope to find more books on those subjects. If you have any books that you recommend, some knockout books that you've read that have a lot of good information, please let me know in the comments section below. I'm also going to put a link to these books below in the description if you want to check them out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you leave me that comment below in the comment section. Please share this video to any family and friends on your social media. And as always, click subscribe to my channel for more videos.